Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to do part 2 of my book review of the brand new fantastic book Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaals. In this part I'm going to talk about the second part of the book, Unblock, how to beat procrastination, and the third part, which is Sustain, how to keep a productivity for a lifetime. So let's get started. In the second part, Unblock, Ali Abdaals talks about the 3 main blockers that actually lead to procrastination. The first one is uncertainty. So you do not actually know what you want to do. Everything is like unclear. So the antidote for this is actually clarity. How to get clarity? Ali explains that there are 3 ways to get there. The first one is actually ask why. You need to actually find out why you want to do something. What is the motivation? Like, because you love something so much, it actually gives you a lot of energy. That is something you really need to keep in your mind, because whenever you do a task, some part of it will be not fun at all. So it's very important that actually you remember why you actually want to do something. And if you always think about it when life gets tough in the situation, you will find back the energy and motivation to do something. Second, he also explains that you should ask why 5 times. This is actually a procedure that comes from Japan. Here, the company Toyota used it to search for mistakes that happened in the car production. For example, if a machine broke down, they would ask why. And then they would find out, oh, there was some clothes stuck inside the machine. And then they would ask again, like, why did this happen? Well, this happened because somebody didn't take care of it. And then why did this happen? Well, this happened because people were actually tired. And then they ask again why, like, why they were so tired. And then finally they would find out, like, well, because this working place is a nightmare and the boss is just like really, really stressful. So Ali explains that they want to use this kind of method more in a different way, to think not about mistakes, but more if a project really makes sense for them. So they ask 5 times why, and that would help them to know if this project leads actually to their goal. Second, Ali talks about the what, like what are actually your goals. Here, you should focus on the NICE goals. NICE stands for N, near term, so you should more think about what is your daily or your weekly goal instead of thinking of the big end goal that is very far away and could be very overwhelming. Of course, you also should think about it, but then after you know that, concentrate more on the near-term goals. Second, input. So that means don't focus so much on the output, maybe that you want to look very fit, that you're very have big muscles or something. Focus more on what you're doing, like you go to the gym 3 times a week and the results will come alone just by doing this. And third, C stands for controllable. So think about goals that are actually also achievable. Yeah, you can say that you want to go to the gym every day 5 times, but that doesn't make sense, of 5 hours. Instead, you could say, like, I go to the gym maybe 3 times a week for half an hour. That's much more controllable. And finally, E stands for energizing. Again, here you can use the energizers we talked about before, play, power, and people, to make it more fun and enjoyable. Furthermore, Ali also talks about the crystal ball method. Here he explains you should think about the next week and the goals that you want to achieve, and also think about what could happen that you actually not doing it. Why could you maybe be procrastinating next week? So then you actually think about, okay, this or that could happen. Maybe I would look at my phone and I check on Instagram. And yeah, then imagine how could you avoid that? So maybe you could also install an app that would always like stop you from actually using Instagram. Like it could pop up as a sign like, don't use Instagram. And that would remind you to actually go back to your work. Third, you should also ask the question, when do you actually do the task? Here, Ali explains that you could use implementation intentions. So you could always say to yourself, like, after I get up, I immediately going to do 10 sit-ups. So you always combine it with something, and after a while this gets really a routine and you do it automatically without even thinking about it. Furthermore, he also tells us that time blocking is a really nice thing. So you should have like a calendar, and in there you always write down what you actually want to do and at what time you actually want to do it. So therefore it's like a to-do list when you have to do something, when you want to do something, and therefore you will not forget it. Because if you just think about it and have the idea, oh, I want to do it at 2 p.m. or something, but you don't write it down, it's much more common that something else happens, you forget about it, and you start to do something else. Second, fear. Oftentimes we do not do something because we are scared about it. Here the first important step is to actually recognize that you're scared about something. Ali explains that he wanted to upload his first video on YouTube for many, many years, but it took him actually 7 years to get started, and it was fear. But he didn't realize it. He always thought, oh, he's lazy or he's unable to do it. And the antidote for get over this is actually first recognize it. You're scared about something, maybe you're scared about failing, you're scared people will make fun of you. And by actually recognizing, okay, it's fear that stops me from doing something, you understand your feelings and you understand the problem. This gives you more self-confidence and will also help you then to reduce your fear and get over it. The second idea is think about identity labels. Oftentimes people call themselves really bad things, like they say like, oh, I'm always scared, I cannot do it. And you should also work on that by calling yourself a bit nicer things. Like you can say like, oh, I can do it, I'm great, and because I did it before in the past. Or you can think about like, I'm a lifelong learner, instead of saying like, oh, I'm so bad right now. No, maybe you failed at the moment, but next time you will do it better. This will already help too. So then the second step is, after you know what is your fear, you actually think about how to reduce your fear. Here Ali talks about the 10-10-10 method. So you think about, would that matter to me in 10 minutes, in 10 months, or 10 years? So for example, you go to a job interview and you're scared that you will not get the job. Then you can think like, will it matter to me in 10 minutes? Yeah, probably, because then I would be still frustrated and my life is over because I didn't get the job. But would it matter in 10 months? Probably not. I'm very sure that you will get a job between the next 10 months, and then you will not care about it anymore. And will it matter in 10 years? Definitely not. For sure you will have found a new job, and this is a really nice way to reduce your fear. Then third, overcome your fear. Here Ali explains two different kind of concepts. First, the spotlight effect. Oftentimes people think they are very important, however nobody really cares about them. Like if you upload your first YouTube video, nobody will watch it, nobody will care about it, nobody will criticize you. People always think about themselves the most, like they care about what they are doing, and really they do not have time to think about you. They think about you much less than you think. Second, the Batman effect. This is something Adele and Beyoncé used at the beginning of their career when they were singing in front of thousands of people on a big stage. Then here you cannot use the spotlight effect, of course. They just used the Batman effect, so they actually imagined they were somebody else, like a person that is super self-confident, that is great, that achieved many things already and is super successful singer. And that actually helped them to improve and do a better performance. So that's a very magical tool as well. And the one that Ali also uses for himself to overcome fear. The last blocker is inertia. Newton already knew that it actually takes much more energy to start a task than continue doing it. Ali talks about 3 ways to beat inertia. First is to reduce the friction. Here he talks about the environmental friction. So for example, if you want to read a book, you can just put it on your table, and whenever you sit on a chair at this table, you will be reminded of continue reading. Or you can always put a bag where you put all your clothes in for doing sports next to the door, and in the morning when you leave your house, you will always take the bag with you, and it's much easier to go to the gym then. Second, he also talks about the emotional friction. Oftentimes we all have that feeling that we do not want to do a task. We're just lazy, we're struggling, and here he explains that oftentimes we need like micro doses of discipline, and therefore he uses the 5 minutes rule. He just tells himself, I'm going to start this task for 5 minutes, and if I really still do not want to continue, I will stop. Okay, then that's it. However, oftentimes he realized that after 5 minutes he enjoyed it so much and he would continue, not all the times, but often, and therefore this is quite a useful tool to get started. Second, focus on take action. Think about the next step. What is the next thing you want to actually do? So if you read a book, you just open the book and say like, okay, I continue to read this page here right now. If you think about like, oh, I have to read the whole book, no, just focus on the next step. And furthermore, also get the habit of tracking your results. Every day you do something, you write it down somewhere, maybe in a calendar, or you have an app, and you say like, okay, today I did this. And this is a big motivation, because if you track like, today I read 10 pages of this book, you see your progress. You see that you're getting to where you want, you come closer to your goal, and that's a big motivation. Finally, he also talks about support yourself. So this could be by having an accountability partner, so somebody that actually talks to you and motivates you, tells you, have you done your task today? Have you done the task of the week? And this will help you to not be feeling you're alone and stop you from actually doing the thing. Furthermore, also be nice to yourself. Be kind. If you fail sometimes and on one day you weren't able actually to do the task that you wanted to do, then be kind to yourself. Tomorrow will be another day. You're able to do it one day later. No big problem. The third and final part of the book, Sustain, is about how to avoid 3 different kind of burnouts to keep a very long productivity. In the first chapter, Conserve, Ali talks about the overexertion burnout. This is the kind of burnout that happens if we do too many things. So the goal to avoid this is by, first of all, actually do less things. Ali says we should all have an energy investment portfolio and only focus on 3 to 5 projects at the same time. Otherwise, if we do too many things, this will lead to burnout. Second, he also says, say no more often. We should only say yes to some kind of idea or project if we really like it, if we really want to do it. Furthermore, we also oftentimes say yes to something that we do not like because it would happen in the future, like in a few couple of weeks. Therefore, we should always think like, would we actually like to do that if this happens in a few hours or the next day? And only if we say yes to this, then we should also commit to this kind of project. Second, reduce distraction. Here, Ali explains that if we do a project and a task, for example, we're working on a project on our laptop, on a table, then we could reduce distraction by putting our phone away. Maybe you put it in a different room, and therefore you stop scrolling along Instagram and wasting your time. Second, if you actually start to waste your time on social media for a couple of minutes, half an hour, then oftentimes people think like, oh, I've already wasted half an hour, so now I can just continue to do that for the next 3 hours and waste the whole day. And here Ali explains that it would be much better that as soon as you realize that you got distracted, come back to your task, stop using the phone or the thing that distracted you, and focus again on your work. And third, he talks about take breaks. He explains his experience in the emergency department, and I can actually agree 100% with that. Here, oftentimes, there are waiting a lot of patients, like 10, 20, 30 patients that want to be seen by you, and you could work non-stop without taking any breaks, and still there would be patients waiting all day, 5 hours, and some of them would be complaining that nothing happens. However, still we all need to take breaks, because otherwise we're just working too much and at the end we cannot continue our work for a long time. He explains that experts say the perfect time between work and breaks would be 52 minutes of work and 70 minutes of breaks. At the end, Ali also says that you should always be thankful for breaks with colleagues or friends. Like if somebody offers you a coffee break, you should not say no to this offer. Maybe you will lose some time and you're not that productive like you could be. However, spending time with a person that you really enjoy can also help you to recharge and to avoid burnout. The second part, recharge, is about how we can increase our energy level and avoid the depletion burnout. Here Ali says we could use, for example, a creative hobby. It should be something that is just for relaxing and where we do not have any ambition. Furthermore, it should be like a calm hobby. That stands for competence. So when we do it, we actually feel like we get to learn something. Second, autonomy. So we actually decide what happens. If we're drawing or painting, we decide what's going to be on the picture. And third, liberty. So that means that we forget about our work and we can completely just focus on the task. And finally, mellow. So it's something that really calms us down. Second, Ali says also a good way to recharge is the nature. This means we could spend time in the nature, walk in a park, see a beach, see a river, or we could also bring nature into our house. So for example, we can have a poster where we see a picture of a nice lake, or we can use plants in the house, or also listen to nature sounds. Maybe you can listen to the rain or fire. That also gives us some kind of relaxation. And finally, Ali says sometimes it's also a very good idea to do nothing. So maybe once a week you can also have like 1 hour where you just tell yourself you're not going to do anything. You will just relax and think about whatever comes to your mind. There is a lot of research about it and says that actually doing nothing can also increase your productivity and creativity. The final part, align, is about how to avoid the misalignment burnout. This is the kind of burnout that happens if we actually do not do the thing we want to. Here Ali says we should first focus on the long-term perspective. So imagine it's your funeral and the people say something about you. What kind of person would you like to be? This long-term approach could really help you to figure out what you want in life. Second, Ali also talks about the Odyssey plan. Here you imagine how your life would look like in the future in 5 years if you follow the path you're on right now. Second, think about an alternative path and where you would be in 5 years. And finally, think about where you would be in 5 years if money and status would not mean anything to you. Second, he says, think about the medium-term perspective. Here he says you should think about where you are right now at every part of life and if you already reached the goal where you want to be. Then he says you should follow the 12-month celebration plan. So you set goals where you want to be in 12 months in every part of your life and imagine you would celebrate these goals right now. This can help you to figure out what you actually want to do in these different kind of parts of life. And finally, short term. What is actually the one task you can do today to get closer to your goal in terms of health, relationship, and work? Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you could also learn a lot of tips from Ali about how to improve your productivity. I definitely did. And therefore, I just wanted to share this with you. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.